Don't you walk on me.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 52 of the Brooklyn Fishing Club podcast. I'm your host, Victor Lucia, founder and president of the BFC. Follow me on Instagram at _Mr_Victor. And if you'd like to see more behind the scenes footage from the podcast, follow us at NYC Fishing. Before we dive into the episode, I'd like to give you a few updates on the club. I've restructured the memberships into 3 tiers based on how interested in fishing you are. For example, you could join our highest tier and maybe you've only ever caught 1 striped bass. That does not matter to me. What matters to me is how badly you want to get out there and fish. If you're someone who does it once in a while, the Bluefish membership could be good for you. If you fish often and you're looking to take your game to the next level, then the Fluke membership is the way to go. If you're the type of person that will get on a plane to go chase fish like I am, then the Striper membership is what you're looking for. The Fluke and Striper memberships also include podcast benefits. You can see all the details of the benefits at brooklynfishingclub.com. And if you have any questions, email info@brooklynfishingclub.com. So these Sheepshead, what made you start targeting them?
Oh man, I guess, with what we have in the Northeast here, and it's the same up there in New York, and for all us guys in the Northeast, that we are very limited with what we have and what we can target. And it was something new. It was like something maverick about it, and I remember back in 2014, I believe, was when I really I guess my eyes opened that they were up here, and I wanted one. I wanted one so bad. And that's kind of really what started it. And of course, my personal mentor and hero, especially back then, Dan Schaefer, Insomniac Guide out of Stone Harbor. He's the guy that makes the bottom sweeper jigs. I think everybody's pretty familiar with him in the community these days. So I knew that he was doing it. He was into it, and it just kind of snowballed from there. You know what I mean? So that's what really kind of got me into it. And to me, and I love fishing with artificials, and I love fishing in general, but to me, there's something about fishing with a jig and a crab that just is it for me. You know what I mean? There's something that just does it for me. It's my favorite kind of fishing. I wish we had more that we could target up this way with just a jig and a crab,
Yeah, so what's the general area that you're fishing?
So as far as them, everybody is kind of, I feel like, familiar at this point. Bridges, of course, but they're not just there. I mean, think of them almost as a tog, but they feed entirely different as a tog. I mean, they like the same structures. Back in the day, before there were bridges, our tog, the majority of them spawn in our backwaters. So, our marshes have some of the best tog fishing that there is around, if you can locate them. And so it's really the same thing with Sheepshead as well. They're hunting marshes just as much as they are hunting your upright vertical structures. They like submerged rubble, wrecks, rubble piles, whatever that might be, rock piles, jetties. They can really be found in a lot of the same habitats and places that tog are found. They're entirely different beast all their own. And typically, I'll say this because I'm sure there's going to be someone out there that proves me wrong, but typically you will not really catch them targeting tog. You know what I mean? you can't expect to approach them in the same way as you would tog. But yes, but here's the thing. On the flip side of that, yes, you do catch them, and you will be very, very surprised in the amount of tog that you do catch targeting sheepshead. I would say, believe it or not, I have trips some days where the tog bite is just absolutely unreal, and you catch 80 to 100 fish like in the period of a session, um, not one of which is caught on the bottom. So believe it or not, I mean, I would say I well over the majority. I would say 95% of the tog that I catch during the season is not caught on the bottom. And a lot of people, that's hard to wrap your brain around. I mean, think about, the people with their big 8 and 12 ounce sinkers and the big rigs and all that, and that's not always the case with them. Just a little side note on the tog thing. I knew we're talking about sheeps, but this year we I was doing a trip, and there was some bass around. I hooked up on a bass, and it absolutely wrecked me, broke me off. I hear a bunch of splashing and showering, and I turn around, and it's actually a school of 3 to 5 pound tog getting blown out of the water by bass. Like they look like mullet that were just fleeing from bass. You ever see or tarpon? It was the same exact thing. It was just wild to see.
So, do you think these fish were always there, or did they arrive in recent years? Do you think climate change has pushed them up? What's your take on that?
So I listen, I am not going to pretend to have all the answers for this. I'm really not. I believe that these fish were here for a very, very, very long time. Of course, you have Sheepshead Bay up there by you guys. That didn't get its name for no reason. Um, I believe that it's a fishery that probably, like the redfish did, kind of got destroyed by humans and pollution. Like down by me, Corson's Inlet, back in the 30s was the redfish capital of the Northeast, and now you don't find them there. Between overharvesting and pollution, killing off their habitats and the places that they feed. Um, I believe it was the eelgrass that they like to feed in. That fishery almost next to disappeared. I mean, yeah, you hear of a guy catching them here and there, but it's like we don't have like that actual fishery that say we once did back in the 30s.
Yeah, that eelgrass was really important. I know that we
Yep.
had a strong population of winter flounder that fed on that eelgrass, and for a while there was a really good winter flounder fishery in New York City, but that's long gone.
Yeah. It's a shame, man. It's a shame
It
what happens
is.
to these fisheries. A lot of it too is like things run in cycles, So I mean, you'll have a flourishing fishery maybe like that was here 70 years ago that you won't have, but there's a good chance that, 50 years from now that fishery could take off again, or there could be another fishery that pops up, because I know at least 15 years ago people weren't thinking that they would ever be catching sheepshead up this way.
Yeah.
That I mean, even still people associate that with being a southern fish,
Yep.
really. We are lucky though in the fishery that we have. As far as that goes, I mean, of course, Florida and the southern states, they have an abundance of the sheepshead. But since we are on the upper end of their migratory range, we get the biggest of the population. We get the
Wow.
biggest of the big. Yep. So the fishery that we have is, a smaller fish for our way is a giant for Florida and for the southern states.
So what's your PB?
So my PB is 12 pounds, just over 12, like 12 and like point oh 0.05 or whatever. Yeah, 12. I've gotten a number of 12 pounders. For me personally, I have a very tough time cracking that like 12 pound mark. My boat record though is 14 pounds, which is an absolute absolute behemoth, man.
How many do you catch on a good trip?
On a good trip, well, geez, man, like before this Ophelia came in and kind of turned things on its axis, we had one of our best trips yet at 21 sheeps, for the boat. And between 2 and 3 guys, that's a great day. You know what I mean? Um, and these and they're not like all small fish. Like we got a number of them that were double digit or extremely close, like 9 pounds. But it depends on the time of the year too. Like if you can go out and you can knock off a couple sizable sheeps, in a trip, but you're also banging out a bunch of tog and throwing some bass in the mix, like you can put together a really, really good day.
Do you ever take the
Absolutely.
sheepshead for the table or no?
So here's the thing for me. Personally, I don't eat fish at all. Believe it or not, a lot of people have a tough time wrapping their brains around that, but I don't like eating fish for whatever reason. I uh, I would say 99% of the sheeps that I catch are released, especially the big ones. They are all getting tagged and all getting released. I don't mind if people keep like some smaller fish, but the big fish are some of those, like a double digit sheep. I mean, you're talking that fish is 20 plus years old. You know what I mean? It's important to keep those fish around in the same way that it's important to keep the big cow stripers around for their breeding purposes and
Yeah.
genetics and
So
all that
I'm
stuff.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but so are those big double digit fish? Are they breeding up until the day they die?
That's a good question. And again, like I don't have all the information for
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I
I mean, we
I
can
wish that I
assume
did
that the
know.
longer they live, the more babies they're gonna have. So
Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what the thought is. And like I said, like I'm not a catch shamer, not at all. If somebody wants to keep a catch and it's within the legal, you'll never see me online shaming somebody for keeping a bass, even back in the day when you could keep a 40 or a 50. You know, I kind of like I do my thing. I instill like I have my values and code and the stuff that I go on, and people are going to do what they're going to do. Can only encourage so much, and just hope for the best.
Since the fishery became so popular in recent years, have you noticed a decline in the amount of fish you've been catching?
So I will say that I noticed the average size getting much, much smaller. That's for sure. Where like a few years ago, like it was like big fish were extremely common. They're not as common now. Where maybe the average size was like 7 to 8 pounds. That's not the case now. Like we're seeing a lot of smaller fish. We're seeing threes, fours, fives, even micros. Actually, believe it or not, we actually have babies showing up in crab traps. So they actually are spawning up here for sure. And I know that for sure because a lot of the early season fish I catch, the males are come up and they're spraying down the boat. So yeah, you're slipping in it, making a mess, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but it's actually it's nice to see. So the flip side of that, and it's something that like it's a sore subject with me and really burns my ass, but the state of New Jersey and, of course, New York is even further behind, but will not refuse to recognize sheepshead as a fishery. And they refuse to recognize it as something that needs protecting. And it's a shame, man, because really the way things are going, the fishery is going to be destroyed before it ever has a chance to
Wait,
get
so
protected.
are you telling me there's no limits or regs on them right now?
No, there's no limits, there's no regs, no nothing on sheepshead.
I mean, I
Yep,
was I
and
was about to say unbelievable, but with the
yeah,
way they
it's
work things, I totally believe it.
yeah, it's fucking bureaucracy, man. It's all that red tape, all that bureaucracy. It's hard. It's hard to get through. And because the people that care aren't the people that are making the decisions, unfortunately. And the people making decisions, they don't care.
Do you think that spearfishing has had an impact on the population?
1000%. Yes. Yep. And, like I have nothing against spear guys. I actually really respect the sport. I really respect to all sportsmen for getting out and doing what they do. But, you have spear guys that, of course, there's no limit. And you have spear guys going out, and it's nothing for, you know, spear guys to go out and spear 8, 10, 12. I mean, there was cases even over the last few years that spear guys were seen with 20 and 30 fish stringers of like absolute trophies, and dead, gone, done. Like, and really the excuse was, oh, they're fun to shoot.
Where is the sportsmanlike conduct? Like, where is
Uh,
the etiquette with these people? What the fuck?
yeah, and listen again, like I'm not a catch shamer. Like I don't,
No, I
you'll
know.
never catch me
I'm
like
not
talking
either.
badly
I'm
on
not either.
people, but um, really, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and there's no point. There's no point, and
Let me ask you this real
unfortunately,
quick before I
yeah,
forget.
go ahead.
And this was the question I was trying to remember before. What's your opinion on people giving their catch away to neighbors? Like they're not even going to eat it; they're just catching the fish. They come on your boat, they kill a sheep's head, and they
Um,
go and they give it to their neighbors.
I mean, I don't have a problem like what they're doing as long as it's going to get consumed by somebody or something. And
Okay.
like again, like I don't really have a problem with that. Like I'm not one of these outspoken guys that's going to like again like shame or grill somebody or whatever. But like as long as it's being used and it's not sitting there rotting, getting freezer burn. I mean, I don't have a problem with who gets it. I,
Right.
I
Right.
will say though, like a majority, the overwhelming majority of people that come out and fish with me, and they do understand how special of a fishery it is, and the majority of them they do choose to release. It's not
Yeah.
not even a question. And
Gotcha.
again, I don't. It doesn't bother me to keep a few of the smaller ones or whatever, but um, I'm not loading a live well with them, taking
Yeah.
a dozen fish. You know what I mean? You do get quite a bit of meat off of one sheep. So
Definitely. So let's circle back to the impact of the spear fishermen, and then also the impact that the popularity of this fishery now has had on the crabs, because people are going out, right, and they're looking
oh my
for
god, yeah,
their own bait. So what's happening there?
yeah, it's a fucking shit show, man. Honestly, it's like fucking Vikings and vultures like going in and fucking pillaging the marshes, and it's just like these days it's crazy, man. Like 1,000% it's noticeable. Like like Asian short crabs, invasive species, yes, but they were a once plentiful thing. In certain areas, they are still plentiful. But the majority of areas, the obvious overwhelming areas, like they're fucking wiped clean. Uh, Dude, it is. It's totally wiped. Like you know how guys have like especially when it comes to bass, they have their secret fishing spots that they don't talk to anybody about, they don't take anyone to, blah 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 blah. Like that stuff's on lock. You have to be the same way about your bait spots. You really do. For crabs, as crazy as that sounds, but you really do. It's a shame that things have to be like that, but man, like people just can't control themselves. That's what the bottom line is. I thought striped bass brought out the worst in people, but sheeps bring out the worst in people. There's like you have a bay system, a marsh system. There's millions of places that they could be. I mean, people usually take the path of least resistance, of course. It's like that with anything, but um, you know that's a tough one to answer because some yes, and some no.
Tell me a little bit about this tagging program that you're involved in.
So, yeah, so it wasn't really something I put out there much this year. But so not much is really known about our population of fish, where they're going, what they're doing, where they're breeding, all that stuff. So, I did start tagging fish this year for Gray's fish tag research. So people are pretty familiar with them. They should be even up in the New York area. They do a lot of great things with, in combination, I believe they do it with the Fisherman magazine as well, tagging bass. So it's the same sort of thing. They're not satellite tags or anything. They're just regular tags. If they get caught again, you get that information back where the growth is. So to try to start piecing together some of the mystery of where they're going, what they're doing, where they're breeding. So it's something that I'm like really happy to do. I mean, and nobody asked me to do this in particular, but I've really been putting tags in the biggest fish, like the double digit or near double digit fish. And part in hopes because, I hope that if that fish were to get caught again and had a tag in it, that in hopes that somebody would be more inclined to let that fish go. So I'm really interested, haven't gotten anything back yet, of course, but I'm really interested to hopefully start getting some data back from some of that. It might be a while, but it's a building process, man, you know?
But they'll share the data with you when they get it, right?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, they will. They will give you all the information. So, and I can feed that back to my clients that have put tags and named them and everything. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun little thing. It just makes
Yeah,
some of those fish even like that much more special.
definitely, definitely.
I had someone just the other week name one after his mom that had just passed away.
Oh,
And you can tell, like, it was like I asked him what he wanted to name it. Wasn't even a second thought. He didn't even think about it.
that's
Patio. That's
amazing.
it.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it just and it to me it just makes, like I said, that entire catch and that entire experience even that much more meaningful. It's like going out and getting a double digit is like a fish of a lifetime for sure. And when you can name it like that, just adds to it for
Oh, it
sure.
totally amplifies the whole experience.
Hmm.
Definitely,
Yeah, no
definitely.
doubt.
Do you think any of these fish are holdovers? Do you think any of them stick around all year round?
Oh man, that is a super good question. And again, like I don't pretend to be the end all be all and have all the knowledge or all the answers associated with this. I can just deduce myself what I think and what I've heard. I don't believe the big ones are holding over. No, I don't believe so. I believe the babies,
Yeah, that's what I
the
was
ones that are
thinking.
just born up here, I believe that they're staying here. Like fish that were, that are a couple inches long. Um, I believe I actually somebody had told me that they've picked even the babies up in minnow traps or crab traps even into December. So yeah,
Yeah, so there are some holding over then.
yeah, definitely. I think the majority of them, though, especially all the bigger ones, they're gone. I believe that yes, while I think that they do run south a little bit, I think that they actually go much further offshore. Um, rather like these fish, I don't think are running back down to like flood or anything. I think they're probably running south a little bit, but I think that they're heading out offshore like to the continental shelf or whatever it is. I think a lot of the big black drum from up this way kind of do the same thing. You'll notice too, like come like tog season. I know in New Jersey, it's tog opens, goes to six fish in November, I believe, and you'll see sporadic big sheepshead start to be caught on those offshore wrecks. Um, and that's kind of what's leading me to believe that they're moving off quite a bit rather than as going as far south as what they did. I don't know. I could be way off with that. They could be
Hey,
going right along with the
Sounds
striped
good to
bass,
me.
and but yeah, it's
Totally
just what my
possible.
thoughts are.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it makes more sense. Like, it's almost like it's not almost like it is. I mean, these are Northeast sheepshead. They're not Florida sheepshead, so they're sticking around, during the season by you, and then they're heading out, to the continental shelf. That makes sense to me. I don't know. It's probably
Yeah.
probably what's happening. I can't wait to see what this data brings back and see if we're right
Yeah,
about
for
that.
sure. Like I mean, even I know like we know up here like we actually in our coastal waters get a very small population of the flounder population. You guys call them fluke up there. A lot of those fish are far offshore at the edge of the canyons and everything. From what I understand. So I believe that it's a very similar situation. I think they at least go out there to overwinter.
Have you ever seen or heard of any other tropical fish coming up around you?
Oh man, dude, there's the last few years have been freaking crazy with that. Um, you know, I I know what back in July, something like just something July, somebody out of Manasquan had a freaking tarpon at their dock. You know what I mean? Last year, I know that somebody had speared a tarpon at in Barnegat. We all heard those stories. I actually believe a surfcaster, if I'm not mistaken, got a tarpon, what, in Cape Cod or something? Some kind of wild shit or up that way. But yeah, so it's becoming more and more common, exactly, commonplace to be getting like the southern species moving into our waters. Now whether they that turns into like an actual fishery or a yearly thing, that remains to be seen, of course. but but yeah, I mean, that's the awesome thing about fishing. Um so I did hear, and like from a very from somebody that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, that they believe, and I will say believed, they saw a triple tail actually in the backwater this year. Like, I'm not going to say where or whatever or who, but like somebody I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and I I believe them. I really do. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever heard of any? Have you ever heard of any red drum or anything getting caught?
Absolutely, yeah. But again, it's like a rarity. So here's the thing, man. Redfish are my freaking unicorn. Have you ever been obsessed with a fish that you never even caught yet? If
Yes,
so, that's
absolutely.
exactly how I feel about redfish. I am hopelessly freaking in love, obsessed, like head over heels in love with redfish. Never even caught one yet. It does happen. There was a guy last year, like very close to my area, like waters I actually fish, got a number of them. You know what I mean? I think he got something like 8 of them. He was um I believe it's what we would refer to as like a schoolie size bass. I but I will say this, and again, it's not something that I've put out there a whole lot or publicly, but I did find a floating dead redfish this year. He was probably 25 or 30 pounds. Like, I was like losing my mind over it. Like, I almost moonwalk into the drink. You know what I mean? A little bit south of me, like offshore, it does happen. It seems like it's happening every year. Like further offshore, people are getting into monster redfish. I'm talking like 40-inch plus redfish. Um,
And they're
you know,
keeping real quiet about it.
yeah, real quiet. I mean, it gets out there, like the pictures get out there and everything, but it's something that seems to be more commonplace. There is like people that are extremely dialed into the fishery, especially in Cape May, which is people of those not familiar. That's the furthest point south in New Jersey, that are consistently on fish, redfish, every single year. So there is a fishery. They are here. It's it's breaking out of our norms, and figuring out how to approach them, um, is the hard part, because I don't think, and I don't know enough about it. Again, like I don't want to pretend that I do, but like it's not the kind of thing where, like, yeah, you could catch them targeting bass, but like you're going to have to change up your whole approach and whole mentality as far as like trying to target the redfish, because it's an entirely different animal. Now, was it last year or the year before? Togging actually. I had the person that was on my boat had a pair of redfish follow her jig all the way up to the boat. Again, I absolutely lost my mind. It was like apparent. There was no striped bass. It was like the water was like extremely clear for that time of the year. It was like glass, because I think if it was stained or dark, I'm not sure that I really would have been able to. I don't know that I might have mistaken it for stripers, but no, it was a pair of reds, followed a crab and her jig right to the boat. Like schoolie size, I would say anywhere between 20 and maybe 26 inches, somewhere along there. And again, it was last year, so I kind of forget.
I'm assuming the best time of year to target them or sheepshead. What like that's got to be the summer, right?
Yeah, summer months up until, I mean, we usually get them till mid-ish October, on a good year, unless you have storms that come in and just shit all over it, which this Ophelia didn't do us any favors, that's for sure. But usually you're good until about then. I've heard again, this isn't firsthand, but I've heard of people catching them up to Halloween even, depending on the year, if the water stays warm and we don't get any bad storms or big storms. Always got to go out with multiple plans. You can't just count on one thing, that's for
Definitely.
sure.
No, you have to. Absolutely. It's part of the game. It's part of being successful.
Yep.
So where do you see this sheepshead fishery in 10 years?
Oh man, that's a tough one. And in fact, like I wish I could be optimistic about it, but I think it's something that's already in trouble. I really do, especially if there isn't any regs um, put in. It's something that I'm really going to try to get involved with, because it's something that's close to my heart. It's something that's really important to me. That means a lot to me. I don't think that it's going to be in a good place. No, I really don't. I think that we're lucky to have what we do. I will say, like, I don't want to say all anglers are bad, because they're not, and there's a lot of good people out there that understand the importance, that understand. But like it doesn't take a lot of people to ruin a fishery for everybody. You know what I mean?
And once it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. Exactly. What are they going to put you know a moratorium on it, and hopefully come back? I mean, I think that we got super lucky with that moratorium with the striped bass. You know what I mean? Yeah, we kind of got a second chance at that, a second life at it. I don't think that we'll be getting a third or a fourth chance with a fishery like that. You know what I mean? And it's best to protect and preserve what you have now before it even gets to that point. And that's the mountain that you got to climb. That's what you have to try to make happen. That's why I have so much respect for Florida as a state and the things that they do. Like their regs, they did it right. Like they know how to protect their precious resources, and they're also like very appreciative of what they have. You know, um,
No,
so
they get it. They get it.
yeah, they really do. I would love to see something like that with the sheep fishery, like either a slot limit or anything above. Yeah, I would say definitely slot would be. I think would be the best case scenario.
What would be the ideal slot size in your mind?
Oh man, I ideal slot size. That's tough, because if you start taking too much of one size, you're going to affect a whole different generation. So that's a tough one to say. And again, I don't know enough about breeding. I know that like my boat, kind of reg, like self-imposed reg, is release over 20. Release over RO20 is an awesome organization from down south. There's that they started for the speckled trout. And they've since been adding a lot of different species to that. They added sheepshead to that, and they even added flounder to that, believe it or not. So I would say that um, you know, nothing over 20 inches for sure. If you kept it in a certain range, the smaller the better, dude. Like even honestly, like the 3 and 4 pound sheep, you get a lot of meat out of a 4 pound sheep. They're a bitch to fillet though. If you,
Oh,
if
they
you ever
are.
fillet one.
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
that rib
um,
cage is a nightmare, man.
oh, it is. It definitely is. So I have a couple questions that people
Yeah, sure.
submitted through Instagram. Shout out
Yep.
to everybody that did that. One of the guys, Sam Vasquez, he asked, "What's the best bait rig for sheepshead and the best tides to fish for them?"
Ooh, now he's uh So best rig, I'll start there. So best rig for me is no rigs at all. Jigs, man, jigs. That's all I use. I wouldn't even consider like a rig. However, funny enough, the first big sheep that ever was put on my boat was caught on an actual rig fishing for Todd. Actually, my dad got it. 10 pounds. It was actually pretty cool. But yeah, he caught a 10 pounder, man. We were talking. Just got lucky. As far as bait goes, there's a lot of different things that you can use for them. Uh, Sand fleas, fiddler crabs. What you got? Asian shore crabs. You got mud crabs. You got greenies. As far as best bait to use, that will really depend on area. You know what I mean, and what you have around there. I mean, I know my top personal picks, but you kind of have to go with what works for you. And my suggestion to that is never just carry one bait with you. You want to have at least two. You know what I mean? The more different types that you have, the better. Because honestly, man, like I've had days where it's like, you know, you fishing Asians. As soon as you drop a fiddler crab down, boom, you know, gone, like immediate. But at the same time, I've had that exact same situation with sand fleas. I've had the exact same situation with what's it called? With Asian crabs. Oh, the other thing I wanted to add to that list too is actually calico crabs, amazing bait, and also ghost crabs. Definitely don't overlook ghost crabs, especially if you find them, in a smaller size.
Thought it was just Asian crabs and
Yeah,
green crabs, and yeah, this is crazy to me. I love this type of shit. But what
yeah,
about
yeah, definitely.
I love nerding out on this type of stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
what about the his part of the question about like the tides and the moon phases and stuff like that?
So, and I don't want this to come out across as any sort of arrogance in any sort of way, but there are pieces of the puzzle that you just have to go out and fish through and put together. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be completely different. Like, dude, I know for me, like, I absolutely, and I'm probably going to get hate for this, I absolutely hate full moons for fishing. For stripers, I always did terrible, blah, 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 blah.
No, you won't
It's
get
full
hate. You
moons.
won't get hate for that. I just talked
Yeah,
to Frank about that in the last podcast, and I personally I hate fishing full moons. I will
dude,
not I will
hate.
just stay at home and tie rigs or whatever. But it's
Yep,
just
but
something
but
about it.
guess
But
what?
some guys swear by it. I don't know,
But
but
dude, my life's experience, everything that I have like experienced, full moons have been horrible. But guess what? Full moons were kind to me this year. Like really good. Like I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? And new moons, And new moons did me fucking dirty this year. Let me tell you. Yes. I don't know what it is, and I'm probably just an anomaly, and it was probably just me doing something wrong, like because there's a definite human error there. But like, I try to be consistent, like with my approach to things, like like I have like a process that I go through when I'm on the water, and it doesn't change much, you know what I mean, in the way I approach, you know. Um, but yeah, so it literally changes all the time. It changes all the time.
And it
So
keeps us
that
on our
that's
toes.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
part
And
of the
it
excitement, part of the
it
chase.
is, and it's something like that your logs are going to show you that that you definitely gotta start keeping logs, or if not, paying super close attention to that stuff, because
Yeah.
it
That's what I was going to ask you next. Do you keep a logbook, and how important is it
uh
to you?
absolutely. I keep a logbook. I keep mine electronically, actually, on an Excel spreadsheet just on my phone. And I want to say that this year and last year I wasn't as diligent with after every trip filling it out. Like I would go back a couple days later and kind of fill in stuff, you know what I mean, and put down as much as I remembered, and as much as information as I could divvy up. But I do keep logbooks. They are extremely important because, like, and I'll tell you this, like, as fishermen, like, we're like, if you stop learning, like,
Game over.
you're not doing it right, man.
Yep.
There, even in skunkings, there is a lot to be learned, and you know, like this year, like I feel like for me personally, like I had a lot of like a lot of epiphanies this year, you know, especially with like moon phase stuff. Um, that like I never even it wasn't even remotely like in on my radar in previous years. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be learned from the moon phase things. You know what I mean? Extremely important. That's why logbooks are like super like one of the most important things, I feel like,
So how
in
deep?
becoming a better angler.
Definitely. So how detailed is your logbook? I mean, is it down to the wind, the direction of the wind, the moon? Like,
So I do have that, and I can't remember the whole thing off the top of my head, but it's time time start fishing time of high tide, time of low tide, wind direction, water temperature, air temperature, barometric pressure, bait used, water depth fished, um, you know, and there was a couple species caught, and
uh,
then of course like a section for notes.
you pay attention
um
to humidity too?
uh Honestly, no, I actually don't. It's actually not even something that I had thought of, but it's a very good point. It's something that I could probably add for sure.
Because
Like
I know
there's a
it's,
lot of a room for improvement in my log,
yeah.
definitely.
Well, I noticed something with, it's a totally different fishery and it might not apply to it, but with like trout fishing, I'll always keep an eye on two main things, which is, well, three main things: the wind, where it's pushing the bait, where it's been pushing it for the past 3 days, um,
Hmm.
the barometric pressure, how much that's been fluctuating, and then also the humidity. I found that in my logbooks, the days where I've got like, my personal best fish, the humidity has been damn near close to 100%.
Get out,
So
really?
yeah, yep.
That's wild.
So
That's like super interesting. I got to tell you something. Again, that's not even something that like was even on my radar to look at. I got to tell you, I appreciate that little nugget. Thank
yeah,
you.
no problem, no
I'm going to
problem.
tuck that one away for sure.
Definitely, definitely, it's a good one. I think it definitely affects them.
Hmm.
So how can people find you and charter you?
So I mean, I'm most well known for Instagram. It's at Scotty Sevins, and it's Sevens spelled Sevins. Um, On Facebook, I am Sevens Fishing, Sevins Fishing. I have my Facebook business page, but Instagram is usually the best way to get me, or to follow me. I mean, everything I put on Instagram goes on to Facebook with on my personal one. I don't have my clients catches on my personal one, of course. That's just kind of like my log. But Instagram is really the best way to get me.
Do you have any superstitions or good luck charms?
Oh, so did somebody ask you this one?
No, I ask every guest this.
No. Dude, yes. Yeah, I am, and this is crazy. And the last podcast I did, like, I think I triggered some people with it, but, yeah, dude, I am superstitious as fuck. I really am. I do not leave the dock. I do not leave the dock without a pineapple. So, yeah, so I got a pineapple in the cooler on my boat at all times. In fact, at this very minute, I have two pineapples in my cooler. So, yeah, it's just my
Where did that
thing,
come from? How did that
dude.
start?
It started like, so I grew up offshore fishing. The majority of like my life, we offshore fish. Always brought a pineapple offshore. The days we didn't do well, and it just became a thing. Like, you know how some people they got to bring beef jerky fishing. Me, got to bring a pineapple. Like, I have to have it, and it just snowballed into there. Do I catch fish without a pineapple? Yes, I probably can. But do I feel like I catch more fish and do better, and the vibe is right, and everything is feng shui with a pineapple on the boat? Absolutely. And like for me, I believe it affects my whole aura. You know what I mean? So no, I don't everyone's got their confidence bait. Mine just happens to be a fucking pineapple.
Any superstitions about like bad luck, like no bananas on the boat? Stuff?
Yeah, definitely no banana. I don't even like to say that word like on my boat. You know what I mean? Definitely highly against the whole banana thing. Like,
Dude,
I feel like singing on a boat can get a little bit weird too. You know, I feel like there's some old sailor superstitions with that.
No,
That
you got to
like,
be quiet. You got to be
yeah,
quiet. Definitely. It's
yeah.
that's so funny because I am so superstitious too, and I've caught I've a flack for it. You know, I've had club members that have been on their first fishing trip with the club
Hmm.
that we're on the way out, and I see them start eating a banana. You know, they maybe just met me for the first time, like when we
Yeah,
just got to the dock. I've taken the banana out of their hands and thrown it overboard, and they look at me with utter fucking disbelief. And
yeah.
I
Like
just look
what?
back at it. I'm just like, sorry, no bananas. Ask the rest of the
Yeah.
guys to explain it to you, or I
Yep,
can.
dude.
But
Don't even bring banana boat suntan lotion on the boat.
exactly,
Sunblock,
don't even say the
bro. Like,
fucking word.
dude, don't even eat one the night before because it's
I say
still
the
on the
same thing,
boat.
bro.
I'm not even kidding.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. I have told people do not even eat a fucking banana the night before. I have said that to
Yep.
countless people that are, coming out on their first trip with us or whatever, and
Yeah.
they think I'm crazy, but
No,
it's
dude,
real.
I believe it. It's a real thing, and like I
I
don't know.
I got a
Feel
perfect example of it. Okay, check this
yeah.
out. So I was taking my students when I was a teacher in Crown Heights. I would take my kids out on rockfish charters on private striped bass trips, and one of the kids
Yeah.
obviously has no idea about superstition, or whatever. But it's
Hmm.
a 6 hour trip. We're trolling around or whatever. Other boats are catching. Like everything was, primo. I'm like, what is going on? And then I
Yeah.
see this kid take out a banana. I'm like, oh my God. I grab it from him. He's like, Mr. Lucia, what are you doing? I throw the thing off the boat. I'm not kidding you. Within the next 10 minutes, we had 6 fish on. Like it was,
Well, I believe it 1,000%.
so
Like I
it's
do.
real. It's definitely real.
It is real. Like
And you know where it goes
one.
back to, right? You know where the whole superstition,
Yes. So the
yes.
sailors back in the day,
Yep. The
like if there
banana
was a
boats.
shipwreck. Oh, okay.
Oh, no,
So
they would, so when they would transport bananas north from the islands, the bananas would attract rats, and the rats would chew through the hull of the boat and
get out.
sink the boats. Yeah, from chewing through the banana cargo, and that's
Okay.
out of all the research I've done on it, seems to be the root
So
of the
that's
superstition.
interesting. So I heard the one where like when they would find shipwrecked boats back in the day, or a boat would wreck, um, the only thing left that they would have is the crates of bananas floating on top of the on the of the water. You know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
Float it off like that. That was what came off the boat. But yeah, nonetheless, no bananas. Like, yeah.
Yep, definitely
You know, it's
not.
kind of funny. Back in one of the last shark tournaments I fished, South Jersey Shark Tournament. They don't do them anymore, of course. But 2017, shout out to that 2017 year Shark Tournament crew. That was like the greatest time fishing I ever had. But we literally did a banana cleanse for like 2 weeks prior to the tournament. Like nobody was allowed to eat bananas for like 2 weeks prior to the tournament.
Dude, I love that.
So
I love
yeah.
that. If the next tournament I'm in, the whole squad, we're going to the Barrier Beach Brawl, Nick Hunt.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we're going to have to impose that rule. I might have to text the guys right after this and be like, guys, we got to start the banana cleanse tonight.
Yep, banana cleanse starts like effective immediately.
No, like for real, we're going to do it. I'm not fucking around. We're going to do it.
Dude, anything, and no matter what it is, like, all right, man, we can all bust balls about each other's superstitions, but whatever puts you in that positive mind frame and mindset, whatever gives you confidence, I don't care how crazy it is.
Exactly.
Do it.
Who cares?
Because the energy that you're putting out, is the energy that's going to come back. Yeah. Everyone's got their confidence baits, like whatever the case may be, but you know.
I had one I was talking to Frank about on the last episode, and he mentioned that he has this tactic to prevent catching a fish on the first drop or the first cast, because he and I share that superstition where if you hook up with a decent fish on the first cast, then
man.
it's over.
I know it.
You might as well go home or sit down and just start drinking beer for the rest of the day on the boat. But he said what he does is he'll cast it out and just rip it back really quick and just get that out of the way. So
it's kind of funny, but that first cast curse is like a real deal.
It's another one that's real.
I've been done dirty. Yeah,
Absolutely
I've been done dirty by that. Yeah,
it has never failed. Like every time I've ever tested it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's so funny too, because every time that it happens, I'm like, man, fuck that. It's just a bullshit superstition, you know? Like, I'm going to catch more fish today. It's still 6 a.m. We got 8 hours. Nope. That's it. Yeah. So
then you start getting in your own head about it. Like, wow, was that real? Is this really happening? It's happening.
It's happening. It is happening. It happened.
Yep.
Yeah. What?
And, dude, it's like that movie Final Destination. Can't do shit about it. Can't stop the rain. It's coming, you know?
Exactly. Oh man, that's great, man. So
good shit, man.
Good shit, dude. I think we're gonna end on that note. Thanks
dude,
again for coming.
I gotta say, like, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I had a great time, and I sincerely appreciate you thinking enough of me to have me on your show.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I've been following you for years.
And same. I've always had nothing but respect for Brooklyn Fishing Club and what you guys do up there. So I sincerely appreciate the opportunity, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Well, next season, I know we couldn't put it together this season, but next year for sure, we'll be doing some sheepshead fishing.
Let me know. Let's make it happen, bud.
All right, cool, man. You have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Hey, don't you walk on me.